Today is the day I'm going to finish this dirt work up to the teeny house and call it good. Probably won't get 95% modified Proctor on a compaction, but I think I'll get good compaction strong enough to hold up the tractor to cut the grass or whatever. That's all I really need. It's not a highway. It's not even really a road because we don't usually drive the trucks past teeny house, but I think it's going to be okay considering what this stuff looked like a month ago when I mucked it out of there. It was more liquid than dirt, and now it's looking pretty good. So it's gonna be a long day on the tractor, but I wanted to get it uniform slope that way, and not too many hills. And I got grass. I'm gonna plant the grass, and then we're calling it good. It's supposed to get rain tomorrow, maybe, and that'd be good for the grass. Yeah, see, this is still a little wet. It's really not optimum moisture content, but I don't have to worry about that anymore. When I was in construction, we fought compaction for years, but I don't have to do that anymore. So we're gonna call it good when I say it's good. So step one was to reopen up the ditch. I dug this with the bucket, so it's mostly dug already, but a lot of stuff has fallen in it, and back dragging with the blade makes for a nice smooth ditch. So I did this all the way down to where that storage area is. The next thing I did was to kind of gather the soil up and get it back in the middle. The little blade on the mini hoe doesn't tilt or pivot, so it tends to just flatten out the dirt and get it wider and wider and wider, and you really can't do much about it. So get the bucket and place the dirt so it has some slope, and then you can go back with the blade and knock it down and compact it a little bit. This little machine is not very good for compacting because it doesn't weigh much and all the weight's spread out on those rubber tracks, but it's going to do all right. Still got a few vegetables pop up every now and then, but not nearly as many as when we started. So now the dirt is acting more like dirt and less like mud. It crumbles in front of the blade, moves around, falls under the blade in the low spots, and the blade knocks off the high spots, and that's what it's all about. It's not totally hard. The tracks are still sinking a ½ inch or so. When it gets really hard, they won't sink at all. But this is a huge improvement, and this is fun right here. Knocking it down, putting some slope on it, getting it nice. Now the box on the tractor is doing the same thing I was trying to do with the little mini hoe. The mini hoe is kind of short, so it's hard to keep the blade correct. And the box is a little wider and just does a better job, but it does the same thing. Gathers up dirt, drops it in the holes, and knocks off the bumps. It's 10:15, and I think I'm done. I started at about 6:20. I've gone nonstop. I used the blade, I back dragged, I pushed, mostly used the bucket swinging back and forth. I got a couple of loads of dirt with my son's tractor from his big old dirt pile. It's very slow and very inefficient because it doesn't hold much dirt, and it's a long drive down the road, but I did get a couple. And I got this little area, which is going to be my storage area. I'm either a sea can or I'll just make a metal building. In pretty good shape, fairly flat. I'm calling all this good. I'm gonna plant grass. I got one spot right here where it might be a little low, might hold water. I might need some more dirt, but it does have a ditch, so it might not hold water. And then between the tractor and the road, I'm probably gonna need some dirt, but I'm getting ready to dig up my driveway culvert and reset it. Gotta go find my camera. I put it off in the woods somewhere. It's gotta be down here somewhere. This poor pine tree, I have killed it. I've dug around it too many times. So I'm gonna come take it down, and then I can run my little block wall a little farther. Get over here and turn. I hate to get in the middle of the grass and cut because the tracks tear the grass. And I have such a little bit. Hate to lose what I got, but maybe if I get over here and go in a straight line over to here, I won't have to cut much. I'm getting ready to dig up my driveway culvert. This is a full joint and a little piece, and this piece was broken anyway. It's kind of like not in the right spot. It centers right here. I really want it centered on this driveway. So I have a full joint and I have like a 10-foot joint and an 8-foot joint. I can put them together. None of those are broken. I can get rid of the broken one because it's going to cause trouble. So I'm gonna dig it up, put the 3 joints together and slide it around and try to get the driveway more centered on this. Try to get the culvert more centered on the driveway and maybe a little bit deeper down into the ground. But I don't want to break it, so I gotta be careful. So this pipe is called push pipe or SDR pipe. SDR is slenderness to diameter ratio. This is for sewer or drain. It's not pressure pipe. It's pretty thin wall, and I've been using a random assortment of SDR. Most of it is SDR 35, and I've got some 25, which is heavier, and they make a heavier. I think they make an 18, so the smaller the number, the heavier the wall. It's not water pipe because there is no fittings that are restrained to hold back water pressure. If you have a water system that has 100 psi pressure, it will just push end caps off of these things all day long unless it's restrained. So SDR pipe, I think you can actually buy fittings for it, but to me, a fitting for an SDR pipe is a manhole. You shouldn't have a T or a 90 or a Y in a sewer line unless it's in a manhole. So I think you can actually buy fittings, but I don't think very many contractors use fittings for SDR pipe. So I have a little bit of C900 pipe, and I'll show you that in a minute, but this is a SDR 35, I believe. I'll have to check when I dig it up. Now it's called push pipe because that's how you put it together. You just push it together. It has a rubber gasket. And if the gasket's clean, and if it's lubricated, and there's not sand and gravel in the pipe, and if the plain end is not gouged some kind of way, they don't leak. It's easy smeezy. You just need to do those 3 things. It need to be clean, lubricated, and check the ends to make sure they're not boogered up, and you don't get leaks. Sometimes we got a spec for Schedule 40 PVC like you buy at Home Depot. But when you get Schedule 40 over 4 inches, like 6 inches or 8 inches, and you're trying to glue that in the summer in Louisiana, it is almost impossible to get enough glue on the fittings. They're so big, and they get them pushed into the right position before the stuff tacks up, gets hard. So we used to hate it when we saw Schedule 40 spec'd out, and it's not done very often. It's usually SDR or the C900 pipe. Doing a critter check, always a good idea. Animals love to get in pipes. I thought I might be able to just shake that little piece out the end. I was not correct. So I picked up this piece and that piece yesterday. This plain end can go in this bell, and that bell can go over that plain end. Even though it's bent a little bit, I think I can still force it on there. But I got to get this piece out. I've put a lot of pipe together, but I don't know if I've ever taken one out before. I'm not sure how. It starts out with a hammer, right? Let me go get a hammer, see if I can't beat this thing out of there. No luck with the hammer, so I have a strap tied the other end of the pipe to the track hoe, or to my truck, I think. And I put another strap on this end, and I pull it with the track hoe, and we snap the strap like instantly. So gotta try something else. So I'm pulling again, not as hard. I don't want to break my other strap. This time we're adding some vibrations to see if we can't convince that broken piece of pipe to come out of that good piece of pipe. It was surprisingly well stuck in there, but eventually it came loose. Okay, that was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, but we did it. Let's go get some lunch. So the end is boogered up, and it is only sort of halfway clean, but I did put some soap on the rubber, gave it some lubrication. It went in there, may or may not pass a hydraulic test, but it's not critical in this application. It's just open ditch. Okay, terrific. Do the same thing with this plain end piece. Except the track goes in the way. Give me a minute to move all this stuff out the way. Now this plain end piece I picked up at the pipe yard is SDR 25. It's a heavier wall than the blue piece, which is SDR 35. I think that's the right number. Now, I don't know if it's colored on purpose or if it was just stored out in the sun and it faded. I'm not sure, but these are two different SDRs, but the outside diameter is the same, so they fit together. Sometimes things work out. We got our pipe together. I need to guess the Traco, move it out the way, slide the pipe where I want it, mark it, dig the hole, slide it in the hole. Back when I had a real job, we used to lay a lot of large diameter ductile iron pipe, because that's sewer pipe. It was cement lined or epoxy lined, but it was large diameter and ductile. And we had a pipe laser, which was a cool device. You'd put your first piece of pipe in, and then the pipe laser would sit inside that first piece of pipe where it's protected from damage. Ran off a car battery, and you leveled up, you set it up, and you dialed in the percent slope that the pipe was called for. And then you took a stick and you marked it with three marks for your labors: dirt grade, bedding grade, and pipe invert. And the laborer didn't even have to read or write. He could see those three dots. You got the dirt right, okay, bring in some sand. You got the sand right, okay, let's lay the pipe. The pipe needed to go up and down a little bit, get it right. And man, you could really go with once you got that thing set up. No laser here though. I got a little lump in the dirt. The pipe was kind of teeter-tottering, so I'm just digging out a little high spot here, trying to get this one pretty accurate because I do not want to have to redo this one. I didn't really take much care in all the road crossing pipe. They were just one piece of pipe. I couldn't go too far off. This one's 3 joints, so I want to make sure I'm straight. It's going to drain and not clog up. Might be a little too low on this end, although I know this ditch is somewhat silted up. I don't want to make it that deep. I like being able to drive the lawnmower through it, so I might throw some loose dirt under it and pick it up a little bit. It's getting hot out here. So this is actually the first culvert I've set out here on the property that I've used a 4-foot level to get it right. And I was the first one I've ever shoveled dirt underneath the bottom to make it stay put when I backfill it. This is my driveway and I want it to be good, and I'm gonna put stone over it, and I don't want to have to redig it one day and get it right. So it's good now. We're gonna backfill it. I won't have enough material because the pipe's much longer than before, but we'll get started. So while I was in pipe mode, I went across the street and dug up this piece of 6-inch plastic pipe. It's in the ditch and it drains a large area, and it tended to plug up with branches and stuff. There's nothing wrong with it, but I want to go bigger. So I have that 8-inch HDPE black pipe in the background. I'm gonna put that in there. That HDPE pipe is fusion welded pipe. You got to have a big giant machine to use it, but it's used a lot. Like where you do a boring under a highway, you put in your carrier pipe and then you can fuse this stuff on the ground ahead of time. Shoot, seems like a quarter-mile long and tie a cable to it and drag it. It's pretty cool pipe, but it's not used every day. It takes specialized equipment. But anyway, it's almost indestructible, so I'm gonna put it in where this white one is. It's gonna have hardly any cover at all. When I get the invert, at the right elevation, it's gonna be basically at ground level. But that's okay, because the Traco and the tractor and everything else is not going to hurt this black pipe. It's pretty tough stuff. Now I've been doing on the fun stuff because there's no mud. It's just really different kind of soil. It's kind of sandy, silty. It's not black loamy like the stuff in the back. On this side of the street is sandy, silty. On this side of the street is black loamy. And it kind of corresponds with the hardwoods versus the pines. So I don't know what's up with that. Anyway, I back drug this ditch, cleaned the sediment out of it. And I did a little swale here because that's the natural path of the water in this big yard area, which built up, gave me some soil to build up this little spot. So this is no longer going to hold water. And I did a little bitty swale right here so that the water that comes off of our stone driveway can get to the ditch. On the other side, it has a natural slope, so I don't have to worry about that. And then I cleaned out this ditch pretty far down there. So now I'm going to get my son's tractor and his little box. Even though it's not working correctly, it doesn't hold its position. You got to constantly fight with it. And I'm going to grab all this dirt and flatten all this out, and that should give me enough dirt to raise our parking area. And I'm going to flatten all this out because I think I'm going to stone all this so that when there's more than one vehicle, we can park in the road and the other car can get by. So life is good, and it's perfect seeding weather because it's not too hot and it's supposed to rain 1 or 2 days this week. And I got to go home and start a mold making casting session with my wife, which is 4 or 5 days. I won't be here, and we'll just let it rain, let the grass grow. Bought a bag of seed, probably not enough. Seed's expensive. It's 50 bucks for that little bag right there. Okay, several hours later, I think I'm calling it good enough for grass seed. It's not perfect, but it's pretty darn good, and it's 200% better than original. And from now on, if I have a spot that doesn't drain, I think it would be small enough just to address it with the front end loader and a shovel. All this back here should drain fine. This up here, I'm not really sure about, but we'll see. And I am going to cap this with gravel, which will also help it drain. So let's open up this $50 bag of grass seed and see what we got. Well, it's all gone, whole bag. See what happens. Hope it works. I'm going to get the rake and kind of rake some of it where the dirt's loose, because you're supposed to do that. But where the dirt's really hard, it's going to be tough. Graded, seeded, and hand raked all the way to the back. Now all we need is some rain. So I got my seed spread and I got it hand raked. You're supposed to bury the seeds 1 or 2 inches. Well, that's not going to happen with a hand rake. But I did stir everything up a little bit, and I'm super stoked. And the weatherman says rain at 1, and a few minutes ago the sky was totally blue, and I was saying bad things about his mother. But look, clouds are rolling in. Might get some rain after all. It'd be perfect. I'm doing final grading because gravel's coming in the morning, and I snagged a root. There's half of it. And there's the other half. And I broke my adze or whatever that is, trying to cut it. Dang, I can dig a hole and cut it with the chainsaw. I hate to put my chainsaw in the dirt though. I don't have much choice. I gotta get ready for stone. Coming in the morning. Saw this guy on the side of the trail yesterday, and he is huge for a king snake. They don't normally get this big. Very pretty snake. I like these guys. And swoop, gone. And looky here, just like that, we have stone. Well, it wasn't just like that, it took a little while. And bought a fancy thing for my camera, a magnet to mount it on the tractor so we could get some action shots, and I left the mount and the camera at home, so we got nothing. But anyway, this comes on a dump truck. I don't know how much I got because it's a mystery. I told the man I wanted 14 yards. He said he only had a single axle truck, which usually holds 8 yards. But then he was saying how many tons he could put on it. And he said he could haul me 10 yards on a single axle. And then, and it gets here, I get a receipt, it just says gravel. So I don't know how much I got. Almost enough. I was hoping to get a little bit further that way, but not bad. Now this is called wash rock. It's a local product, so it's affordable. Our local little rivers, like the one I have going through my property, has sandy, gravelly bottoms. Now they can't dredge out the rivers anymore because of environmental issues, thankfully. But they'll find a field, some farmer's field, that may be a mile or a mile and a half from the river where the river used to be, and they'll buy or lease the property, and they'll put in a big old huge sand pit, gravel pit, and they'll dig this stuff out and sieve it and sell. They'll wash sand, make mason sand, which is really clean. They'll make fill sand, which is sandy, a little bit of gravel, and I don't know what else, but this is called wash rock. This is bigger rocks, and they all come, now I've got them all dirty because I've been dragging them back and forth, but they come spotlessly clean, really pretty. And so you've seen on TV where they spread gravel with the tailgate. Well, he wouldn't do that, so he dumped the pile right here in the middle. And at first I was thinking, man, that's not gonna go very far, but it almost did what I wanted. So spread it with the tractor and the grader box. It spreads super easy because it flows. It's not cohesive, it just pours out the back. If you lift a bucket an inch, you're gonna get an inch layer of gravel. That pretty much sums it up. So I spread it, and then I spent some time with the lawn rake, kind of knocking the bumps down. And here we are. It's got a lot of dirt mixed in with it from my actions. But that's gonna just make it set up better once it rains and cleans itself. So, one disadvantage of this stuff is it has rounded edges, so it does not lock together like limestone, crushed limestone. So if you have a mud hole that's 2 foot deep and you put 2 foot of this in the mud hole and you drive on it, you're gonna get stuck because these just roll around like marbles. They don't support much. The good thing about it is, once we get a couple rains and it gets clean, this is dust free. So on a dry month when there's no rain and the wind's blowing, no dust will come off of these. They'll be clean and they'll stay clean, which will help keep some dirt out of the teeny house because it'll kind of act like a filter when the kids come and go. Another good thing, since it doesn't lock together, you can hear a vehicle coming on this stuff from a mile away, so nobody's going to sneak up on us. Not that I was expecting anybody to sneak up on us, but it makes a lot of noise when you drive a car on it. So I'm not going to get any more. I probably could use a few more yards, a couple more yards, but maybe next year we'll get some more and maybe go further that way. Maybe go further that way. But as of right now, from my driveway here all the way to the highway, we have stones. So I no longer have to worry about getting stuck when it starts raining. I no longer have to load up my truck and try to get out of here real quick on a rainy day. We have an all-weather road, which is pretty nice. So I'm still loading up dirt in the tractor bucket and spreading by hand with a shovel because we have years of four-wheeler ruts in this area, which I call my yard. I'm trying to fill up all those ruts. There's really no way to do it mechanically, but shoveling out the bucket's not that hard. So that's what I'm gonna do for the next couple hours. But anyway, good time to wrap this video up. This is what I was after, is getting stone on the driveway and getting grass to grow. Now the grass, that's a different issue. I keep driving on the dang road. I keep smushing it, but everywhere else, except for the road, we got some pretty good grass growing. All right, thanks for watching. Another monster king snake. I saw one all last year, and now he's shedding. He can't see me. His eyes are glazed over. I don't know if he can hear me or not. He'll try to bite me if I grab him. No, pretty docile. He'll poop on me though. It scared me. They got a poop gland that's pretty strong. Isn't he pretty? He lives on mice and rats and other little critters. And he'll also eat another snake. And he's not venomous and he's not poisonous. You could eat him, but I'm not. Let him go.